welcome back again to Premium Designs. Today we are going to learn how to create a food flyer. Okay, so I already have my dimensions here, which is 2856 pixels for my width, and then my height to be 2796. Alright, I'm going to title our flyer food flyer. And then I have my resolution 300. So this will be our canvas or our working space. Alright, so first, as we discussed in our first video, which is our fashion flyer video, we learned that designing, you need to create something offline, either draw something or take inspirations online. Alright, so before you design, you have to take inspirations online, check designs of what you want to do, and then you take inspirations from the design to create yours. And again, you can also draw something or sketch something to guide you whilst you are designing. So our designing is going to be in two folds. Have our first episode here. We'll be doing our background today, and then we'll try to add the shapes that we want to be on our flyer. And then later in our next episode, we'll learn how to add our text and any other necessary things. Alright, so let's get started. So first, as we did for our first flyer, I want to create a rectangle on the background here. Right, so it's going to be a white rectangle, of course, with no stroke. So it's a normal rectangle. Right, so we have our rectangle white here. What you are going to do next is to create a gradient overlay. So you go to FX and then you go to gradient overlay. So you click and then alright, so at gradient overlay you can choose to multiply or normal, but our blend mode will multiply. Then we have our opacity here like this. Alright, so let's work with the color. Okay, so it's radial -109 and scale 150. Okay, alright, so our first step is to add a gradient to our rectangle, which of course has a white background. So we are going to add other images to it. So I downloaded some images online, which of course you can download some if you want. Alright, so I have with me some images that I'll be using to design our background. So these are the images here. Okay, so back to our flyer. So if you're a new viewer, kindly subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification button to receive notifications each time we post a video. You can also leave a comment under the comment section. We will reply you. Kindly leave us a suggestion if any. Let's continue. Alright, so what we do now is to bring this image here to, so we convert to normal layer and then we bring it to, alright, so we have this here, So what you are going to do now is to turn the blend mode there to screen. So we are going to change the blend mode to screen. Okay, so blend mode screen. Alright, you have it like this. So let's see. We are rotating it 180 degrees. Okay, so since we have this image here, now we can position it very nicely. I think this is okay. Okay, so we can see we still have parts of our image here. So what you're going to do is pick our eraser tool and then we turn the opacity to 100, so we can then select your layer, of course, if you want to edit the layer. So we can delete this part off. So I'm going to increase my eraser to increase it and then delete this side. Okay, so this part is deleted. So what you're going to do now is to reduce our opacity and then we brush top. Alright, so we clean. So we have our image here nicely. So what you're going to do next now is to bring in another part of what you want to add. Okay, so we are going to reduce our opacity a bit. Say alright, so 40 will do. So we have our image in here. So what you're going to do now is to lock this image and then we lock our background, not to distract it. So what we add next is, so we have already added this, so we can now delete this. We are going to add this fire here. Right, so the same approach, click and then drag, convert to the normal layer, and then you bring it to your working space. So we adjust it like this. Okay, so the same approach, we turn it to screen and then we reduce the opacity to say 20. Alright, so we have it 20, but we can still see some lines there. So we are going to select the layer and then use our brush, I use that to at 100 to clean the edge like this. And then we are going to reduce our opacity now to say 15 and then we brush on top. Okay, so we are now done brushing. So what to do next is to delete this here. We are going to add this sparks here. So the same procedure, Okay, so same approach. We are going to change the blend mode to screen. Right. Then we change our opacity here to 25. It's okay. Right. So what we are going to do now is to use eraser to okay, so 100. You might not see the cleaning here, but you have to do it. Just to get rid of anything you don't want. Okay, and then reduce the opacity to 15. And then we brush. Okay. So we are going to lock this layer as well. Then we lock this layer as well. So in case you don't know what you are doing, we are creating a background for our food flyer. And someone will be asking, why are we using a red background, or why are we adding fire and then sparks to it? Okay, so we are trying to make the flyer very attractive to our viewers or our customers. In case they see this flyer, they might want to eat. Right, so we would want to okay. So what's next is to add our pepper to it. So what you're going to do here is to select the red pepper here. So with our magic wand to with tolerance 90, we can select the background like this, and then we unlock the layer just by clicking the lock icon there. So we can select the background around our pepper, and then we click delete, which is backspace. That's Control D to deselect. So we've removed the background of our image here. So we are going to use our lasso tool, polygonal lasso tool, to select only the red chili pepper here. Alright, so once it's selected, we can send it to our flyer. So we have it here on our flyer. So what you're going to do now is to reduce the size and then tilt it a bit. Okay, so we have it here. We're going to reduce the opacity as well to say 40 to 40. So we don't want this pepper to be here just as the image here. So what you're going to do now is to select the layer, we go to filter, we go to blur, and then we are going to blur the pepper, but we are going to do motion blur. Alright, so the pepper will be blurred in a motion form. We can reduce it or we can increase it. Alright, so we reduce it. So things now it's okay. which of the blend modes work. Alright, so we are going to leave it normal and then we lock this layer as well. Since our layer is locked, so we now have our background like this, which we are going to add our shapes. And then the shapes will contain the images of our food whenever we are ready to continue with our episode. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 layers here as our background. So what you are going to do is you select the first layer, you hold shift, and then you select the last layer here. So all our layers here have been selected. Now we come down here and then we click on the group button, which creates a group, and then we name our group background. Alright, so we have our background group here, so we can now lock our background and nothing here can be distracted. Alright, so what's next is to bring in our shapes. Okay, we can now delete this. So I have this shape here which I drew in CorelDRAW. So we are going to make use of this shape. So it's a magic wand to, you can select the shape and then we click Ctrl C or Ctrl X, any of them works. Ctrl X is going to cut our shape here, or you can just decide to click Ctrl C, which copies the shape. So we bring our shape to our flyer and then we paste. Okay, so we have this shape here. What we are going to do now is to flip. So we go to transform, edit, transform, and then we flip horizontal. Right now. Okay, so this is where we are going to draw a different shape which will contain our main dish. Alright, so with our pen tool you can just draw the shape by adding knots. So we are drawing the shape that will contain the food on the shape we brought in. Right, so we can fill it with white and then we bring it down so that our main shape here will lie on it. So we can now edit this shape and then go to FX, go to blending options. So what you're going to do now is color overlay. We are going to add a bit of shadow to lighter opacity, inner shadow as well, lighter opacity. So we click OK. So we can now see what we've done with the shape we brought in just now. So what you're going to do next is to add the shapes, the circles. You're going to add circles which will contain the other dishes we want on our flyer. So we go to the shape tool, we select our ellipse tool, and then we hold shift to create a perfect circle. So shift and then you click to drag. Alright, we have our white, so make it white, and then alright, so we position it very well. we can now duplicate it. So just as we learned in our previous video, you can either click right click on your layer and then you go to duplicate layer, or you can just click Ctrl J for jump. So Ctrl J, you duplicate and then you hold shift to move it in line. Right, so another Ctrl J, shift. Right, so I want 3 dishes plus my main dish here. Alright, so what I'm using our ruler here is to indicate where we are going to add our menu and then our location info. So we having our menu at this side and then our location info at this side. Alright, and then we can have our company name here as well. So what you're going to do with these 3 shapes is to create a group for the shapes here. So we hold, we click or we select our first shape and then we hold shift to select all the shapes. So since all our shapes here have been selected, we can now group them and then we call it food shapes for easy identification. So we call it food shapes. So now we can edit the whole shape here. So with our shape being selected, we go to FX and then we go to stroke and bring it here a bit. So we are going to stroke circles. So what you're going to do is increase the size to say I think 20 will do. For 20 we have 20, whether you want it outside or inside. So we want ours outside, not center. So we want ours outside. Opacity 100. Have the gradients here because I've been working with because I've been working on the flyer. I have my gradient already selected, so I have this color here. Okay, all right, so we are now going back to our food shape. Select this particular shape and then we go to FX. We are stroking that particular shape alone. So we are stroking that particular shape. First, let me bring it top. Alright, so I brought the shape, it was in the middle. I brought it top here. I brought it above the shapes so that when I edit, it doesn't hide behind any of the shapes. So we are going to stroke this shape. Okay, so we are going to stroke it, say 15. Okay, let me click OK. So we did that to differentiate our meals, right, and then to make it beautiful. And we might be changing the color of our stroke depending on the meal we bring in. So let's say if any mail that we bring in here has this red color, we are going to change it, and then any one here and there too will affect the color of our stroke. So in the near future we are going to change the color of our stroke, but for now let's leave it like this. Alright, so what you're going to do next is to pick line 2 and then we draw. We click and we drag to this side. Okay, so we want our line to be white. Alright, 0.02 is okay for me. So we can see our line being stroked because it's in the hood shape group. So we now hold, then we bring it to the top. So we can now collapse the foot shape group. So we now have our line here. So we are going to duplicate the line by clicking Ctrl J, and then we move it down to, let me zoom in a bit. We've already done. Okay. Alright, so since we've now drawn our line, we can now get rid of the reliefs here. Okay. Okay, so we are going to need a rectangle which is going to contain our info, because the background we have here cannot contain our info. Obviously, might be the text might be disturbed because of what we have on our background. So what you're going to do now is to pick our rectangular tool, and then we draw a rectangle. So for now we are going to leave our shapes white. We can change the colors later when we are adding the rest. So we duplicate and then we bring it to opposite side, and then position it in the middle. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to pick my line 2 again, and then I draw a line in the middle like this, but this time to be 0.01, and then line will be white. Okay, so I can now move, click Ctrl H to hide the ruler. So I can now edit, zoom in and edit our line. So I select the line, so we are going to transform the line in a way that it will be very short for us. We want it very short. So let's transform from the top side. Alright, so I hold control and then I bring it down. So the digit there is actually showing how you've tilted your line. We don't want it crooked, so we are going to leave it 0.0 degrees like this. Okay, and then we bring it up. We still know what we want. It's very long, so we can hold control again and then we edit it. Then we bring it up again, same procedure. Alright, so I think the length here is okay. So we are going to bring in our rulers, which is Control H to initiate them again. And we are sending our ruler to the side. And then we click Control J to duplicate the line. And then we bring it to the opposite side like this. So we've actually created a mirror of our line. So we can now zoom out and then we can hide our ruler so we can see what we've done now. Alright, so what's next is to I've duplicated our line. I'm going to edit the line, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Alright, so we have it like this. We are going to zoom in and edit. Control T to transform your line. Alright, so with Control can edit it like this. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate this again and I'll bring it down. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out. So what I'm doing now is to create a space for our company name. Okay, so we'll have our company name, and if our company has any tag, we'll add it here in the space here. And then if you are going to add any delivery services, you are going to add it down here. And down here, you are going to add our call number, very big, so people can call us. So we can now reduce the opacity of these shapes to say 50. Right, same to this. We're going to FX and give it a gradient overlay. Okay, gradient overlay. multiply. Right. Let's increase the opacity to 100, and then we try the gradient overlay on it. So we don't want a radial, we want linear. And then the degree we're going to make it 90 degrees and reverse it. Okay, so like this. Then we click OK. So we can now reduce the opacity. Alright, 70 is okay. Blend mode. Let's leave it normal. So I'm going to do same for this one. 70. And then we can add gradient overlay. And see. This side will contain our menu, then this side will have details. So this brings us to the end of the first episode of our food flyer. Alright, so if you like this video, kindly give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and then like. If you are a new viewer, please don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.